This is my DYU D3F e-bike, which I purchased myself actually just over a year ago. And this is my 1-year review of this bike. Let's go. Okay, so I hope you guys can hear me because it's actually very windy today and it's still pretty cold here. So basically in this video, I'm just gonna point out some of the positive and negatives that I find about this bike after 1 year of use. And whether I would recommend this or not is, I would say I would recommend it, but I'll let you come to your own conclusion from this video. Now I'm using the Insta360 camera that they have, and I've attached it, and I'm using a microphone connected to that. Would I still recommend this bike after 1 year? I would say so, yes, because it is actually a pretty good bike for the price. And what you get for the price is a light, compact, partially foldable e-bike, which you can pick up quite easily, go up downstairs as I do with it, or you can just stick it in the back of your car and you'll still have space for your groceries. So the top speed of this bike after 1 year of use, in no particular order by the way, so I'm just going to point these out, the good and the bad about this bike as I go along, and I guess I'll put them on the screen either on the left or right as I point them out. So in no particular order, I'm gonna start with the speed of this bike. This speed is actually a good thing and a bad thing about this bike. It only goes a claimed 15 miles an hour on full throttle mode while you're pedaling. That door should not be open like that. But I've only managed to get about 12 miles an hour if I'm lucky, and I think the bike has now actually dropped down to about 10 miles an hour. And the reason for that is because the brakes on this bike are not hydraulic brakes. I'm not sure if you can hear it, and you probably won't be able to, but I can. Whenever I'm cycling around with this bike, you can never really achieve the actual top speed of it because you always have the metal rubbing on the discs from the actual brakes, even when you're not being pressed. And I don't think that's something that is actually normal or should be normal on a bike. But then again, considering the price tag of this, it's not something that you want to be complaining about, especially with the kind of brakes that they are. You need this bike not to be able to achieve an actual top speed more than 12 to 15 miles an hour so that you can actually brake safely. Whilst we're on the topic of brakes, the brakes do get used up pretty quickly. I've only had to ever change them once in the year that I've had the bike, and they're pretty easy to change. You can just go on the DYU official website, go on the accessories, select the brakes, and then just make sure you put the correct model of your bike and order them in. To install them, it's actually really simple. You just undo 2 screws, make sure the wire is still intact when you place it back in, otherwise you'll have a big issue like I did, where it'll come a bit fluffy and then you have to replace everything back in. They are pretty cheap, so you can pretty much change them once a year depending on the usage of the bike and how much you use the brakes. My front brake, I will include that video here, the wire has just started to come loose and frizzy and fluff out. I haven't been playing around with it. I did not change it, I did not pull it out, I did not replace it. This is just like normal use, and it's just developed this issue, which I am really not happy about. But the brakes still work for now. So I guess I'll find out next time I try to hit the brakes whether I'm going to be able to stop or just carry on running into this car. My back brake does not work anymore, but that's because it's gone through all of the pads and I just haven't replaced it, so that's why I have no back brake at the moment. But the front brake is being more than enough for me, just like so. So you'll still be able to stop in time. We'll cut that out of the video. We'll pretend like I didn't go through a red light. But then again, that's what cyclists do apparently, and I'm being one of those people right now. Where's Cycling Mikey when you need him? He's usually around this park, which is why I've come here as well. This is Regent's Park in London, and this is where he usually likes to do his little business. I'm waiting for him to come and tell me off. So next point, the tires themselves, they are actually pretty good on this bike. I've had a mini heart attack or two, but that's because it was been my fault because it was raining and I tried to lean a little bit too much. I thought I was still on my motorbike at the time, and apart from that, I've only ever had to pump these tires, believe it or not, maybe twice in the space of the time that I've owned the bike and used it. I use it about 3 times a week in total, and I cover about 10 miles maximum on this bike each week on full throttle only. You do see me pedaling, but I guess I'm just pedaling for the sake of pedaling because it doesn't really affect the speed or anything like that. So 10 miles usage a week. And battery wise, the battery unfortunately has been drained quite a lot. And when I first purchased this bike, I was using the bike, I've always used it for the same amount, which is about 10 miles in total per week on full throttle mode only. I do pedal, but it doesn't really affect it much. So when I first purchased this bike, the battery was lasting me about 2 weeks. So I'll say about 20 miles total before I would have to recharge it. Unfortunately now, I have to charge it after, I would say, 6-7 miles off of usage. So the battery life has been completely downgraded. It's not the best, it's not ideal. Nice bike. But I guess unfortunately this is expected from an e-bike which is being going through constant use. I just didn't think it will go down that much. If you do want to replace it, it is actually pretty easy to replace, I would say, because I've just opened up the side panel and you can just pull the battery out, unplug everything, put the new one in and plug everything back in. It's pretty straightforward, but it's not something that I would want to be doing. Moving along over to the seats. The seat's actually been surprisingly comfortable for the size that it is. It's pretty small. I guess my bum's normal size. I weigh about 82, 83 kilograms. I'm not sure how much that is in pounds for you Americans. But honestly, it has been pretty comfortable. Then again, I only really use the bike for about 10-15 minutes maximum at a time to go to where I need to and come back. And sometimes I actually do end up having a backpack on my bag on the very rare occasion, and this bike has not had any issues in actually getting me up to speed. And I mean, there it is. There's not much to tell you guys about this bike. It is what it is. It's after 1 year of constant use. Would I still recommend this bike? I would personally say yes, because it saved me so much money and time where I don't have to pay for the travel and I don't have to worry about taking my motorbike, traveling, commuting, having to worry where to park it, lock it, worry about it being stolen. So to quickly recap everything about this bike, the good, the positives, and would I recommend it? I'll start off quite simply and quickly. Would I recommend this bike? Yes, because for the value and for what you get for the price, it's pretty decent. It's not the best, but it's okay, it's manageable. And if you're only going to use it for quick 5-10 minute journeys on a daily basis, I would definitely recommend it. So again, let's just quickly recap. Brakes, not good. You use them, I mean, the brakes, they're good and bad because they get you to stop and they work just fine for the bike and for the speed that you're doing. But you go through them so quickly and they start to break and deteriorate a lot quicker than you're expecting it to. The speed of the bike, it's actually pretty good and bad. It's good because it only goes about 10 to 12 miles an hour, but it's bad because I just like something a little bit quicker. This seat itself is actually pretty comfortable. I have no complaints about that. I haven't had any issues. I've never had to worry or think about changing it or getting a bigger, more comfortable seat. The battery, oh boy, it starts off really good. When I first got it, like I said, it will last you a good 20-25 miles with throttle mode only. But now, unfortunately, it lasts me about 10 to 12 miles before I have to recharge it. So I'm having to recharge it after every 2 uses on the bike. The tires are pretty good. I have had no issues with them. I've never had to replace them. They're pretty grippy. I've only pumped them twice in the time that I've owned the bike. The chain, I've had zero maintenance done on the chain and I've had no issues with it. So the color that you can see on the chain is just because of the rain, dirt, grime, and I've just not really done much to it. I haven't had the need to because I guess it's fine as it is. The mud guards, they are not the best. They do the job, they're okay, they're not the best. If it's raining and you're riding the bike in the rain, just expect to be splashed, especially if you have a backpack. The bottom of your backpack is going to be absolutely ruined and wet because of that.